Hi, I'm Hazel. It's Saturday today, which makes it time to sit down and catch up on the WoW news of the week, what I've been up to, and answer some of your questions. This week was a very exciting week for WoW news, and before we get into the 9.1 stuff, there was an Anima hotfix into the game, so like a right now available as we speak and has been occupying a lot of my last week thing. So in the event that you've missed it, they have added 3 new achievements for upgrading your 4 Covenant Sanctum features to ranks 1, 2, and 3 respectively. Each achievement unlocks an Anima bonus that gives you more blue and green quality Anima items when you do things like world quests, dungeons, raids, PvP. Most things, almost everything that awards green or blue quality Anima will have 1 extra piece tacked on, depending on which achievement that you got. So for example, if you have a world quest on your map that's going to give 140 Anima, when you get the first achievement for getting all 4 buildings to rank 1, it's going to give you 175. The next achievement upgrades that to 210, and the third achievement upgrades it to 245 Anima for that world quest. So this applies to Anima from world quests, mission tables, dungeon, raid, PvP, and it does not apply to epic Anima items, so the 250 ones that you get from like the world boss and the elite quest, that is not included. Well, wouldn't that be nice? And as far as I can see, it also does not affect the Idylia, the weekly quest that you get for doing those 2 that you get underneath the Inn Orbos for doing a dungeon. That seems to be a static amount as well. Ever since this change has been added, I have been doing the most world quests that I have really ever done in Shadowlands. It turns out this was the thing needed to make me want to do them, and I've been pretty much clearing the map of Anima world quests because it just scratches that cookie clicker part of my brain, you know, like where, oh, I could earn Anima to make it easier to earn more Anima in the future, you know? Unfortunately, these achievements are not account-wide. You do need to do them on every character that you want to unlock these additional gains on. That is my biggest complaint. That would be really nice for alts if it was account-wide, but even so, it is still a big help for alts because it's not that prohibitive to get at least the first achievement, and that will upgrade the amount of Anima that they're getting. This also adds a reason to upgrade the adventure table for what I feel is the first time. So I've been doing that because that was otherwise not about to happen. And for other news this week, of course, we had patch 9.1 hitting the PTR, which means that it is playable and there is data mining. So we've got lots and lots and lots of news from this. I have rounded up a selection of highlights as I see them. You in 9.1 will be able to mog your shoulders separately. For sure this time. They figured it out. It is on the PTR. It is in the notes. And I'm very excited for all of the asymmetrical mog opportunities. And then, you know, while I'm getting ahead of myself in things that are not happening or currently planned, but because they're able to do this, you know, maybe one day they can figure out how to let us mog just one glove or leg or foot. You ever wear mismatched shoes? It's not great. Anyways, other stuff from 9.1. The new PvP gear is going to scale up in item level when you are in a PvP situation. This is a solution that we've had before, and the idea here is to help prevent PvPers from needing to farm PvE gear and vice versa, making PvP gear the best thing for PvP so you don't feel like you have to mix and match in order to be optimal in either setting. I believe it is a 13 item level boost. I will put a note up if that is not correct. I don't know that it's going to be considered to be enough, but it is definitely a step in the right direction, and I'm excited about it. Other news, the Battle Pet hard cap is being removed. So the moral of this story is that in 9.1, you're going to be able to have as many total battle pets as you want. You will still be limited by having 3 of each pet. You can only have up to 3 of each one still. But the overall cap of like 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, etc., those are gone. And that means do not purchase the items that expand your collection size because they're going to become obsolete in 9.1. We have no reason to expect refunds, so do not buy the pet portal expansions because they are a waste of pet charms at this time and forevermore. I'm sure there's somebody out there that will drop 1,000 pet charms on one just to have it in their bank as like a relic of past WoW. That person's not me, but I'm sure it's somebody. We also now know a little bit more about the new Renown levels coming in patch 9.1. We are currently Renown capped at 40, and in the next patch that's going to increase to 80. So there's 40 new Renown levels to earn with different goodies sprinkled in amongst those. There will be more levels of Soulbind to unlock. There will be new campaign quests to do. There will be upgrades to, of course, World Quest item level, but also there is an Anima boost in there that will be on top of the one that we already have. So at a certain renown, I forget the exact number, but I'm sure I will find it, you unlock a boost to Anima gains from World Quest specifically. This one does not look like it applies to raids or anything, but World Quest for sure. And then at Renown 80, there are new Covenant titles to earn, so I'll be able to eventually earn Hazelnuttygames, Disciple of Devotion. Makes me wish that my name started with a D for the alliteration. D-named Kyrians are going to have a good day. We know a little bit more about the flying unlock in Shadowlands from this Muffinous tweet. It's going to come pretty early after unlocking the Korthia hub, so that is likely before the last wing of the Covenant campaign. That is at Renown 59, but this tweet makes it sound very much like you're going to get flying quite a bit before that, so we should not have to wait too long for flying in Shadowlands. And they have added a Torghast update, like a pretty big Torghast change, where instead of the Terragru and the death counter system, they're making it more of a score-based system, where you get various stars. So you might have like a 3-star Torghast run, and that'll mean something or another. It's not playable just yet, but we've got data mining. The idea behind this change, which they have talked a little bit about in previous updates, was to make it a little less black and white, so that if you fail a run, you're not completely out for your time, kind of making it so maybe you didn't fail, you just got a 2-star run, and then you get 2 stars worth of stuff, etc. I am really apprehensive about this because some of the data mined criteria for earning a better rating or earning more rating are speed based, and the thing that I really like about Torghast is that it's not speed based. You know, we have Mythic Plus for that. If you want a challenging race against the clock, you have Mythic Plus for that. And I suppose there's no single player Mythic Plus the way there is single player Torghast, but I really enjoyed Torghast being still challenging, but at a slower pace that gives you time to really plan out your pulls and think about things. And we haven't seen it yet, so it's too early to make any judgments, but I am worried about it becoming too time pressure-y. I'm sure that they are aware of that concern because I feel like we already had this debate during the Shadowlands beta when they were designing Torghast the first time, so I'm going to have some faith and then wait and see. Speaking of things that we're going to have to wait and see to figure out what they look like, it looks like there's going to be a Mythic Plus score coming in 9.1. So if you've ever used Raider.io, the idea is apparently a lot like that, but native and in the game. So a score that kind of combines your best runs of the dungeons in the current season to, help you quantify your experience when applying for and accepting people for groups. This is going to be controversial because people are already fired up one way or another about Raider.io. So far, as of recording this news has only been broken by Raider.io themselves and then some data mined strings, so we don't see it in the game and we haven't had like a verbatim dev update on it as of recording this, but it seems likely that it's coming. And I think that this is, without getting into whether or not it's a good idea, I think that it's interesting that they would choose to add something like this before they added a default damage meter, right? Like damage meters and healing meters, etc., have been a huge part of the game forever, and they've been like one of the basic add-ons that most people will pick up because it's just kind of seen as a thing that, it's a way of tracking your performance. And this is kind of a similar thing, if not even more cutthroat than damage meters. And I get that they don't, I feel like I guess we don't know why they never added damage meters. I always assumed it was so that people couldn't, bully newer players that don't have the hang of it yet out of playing by showing them terrible meters. But I guess that the Mythic Plus thing isn't quite the same thing because as a brand new player, you are less likely to expect to be competitive in Mythic Plus because that's like a later end game thing, whereas a damage meter could embarrass you as early as level 10 or 15 when you get into like Ragefire Chasm. So I guess maybe I've answered my own question here, but I did think that was interesting that this would come before something like an in-game, details or recount or whatever. I guess it's not that crazy. We had gear score once upon a time, and then eventually they did add item level, and item level is now a fairly, used metric for gauging a quick and dirty look at how good your gear is. So it's not that out of left field, I suppose. I was very shocked when I first heard this, but I think I've talked myself down to mildly amused and kind of waiting to see the comment threads online because they're going to be toasty. And in my life this week, I think it's safe to say I am pretty much fully settled into my apartment. I am building up a routine and trying to make some healthy, regular habits to give me some structure, because it's very easy to have no structure and to start losing time because there's nobody here but me and this cat, and the cat's good. And I'm also working on fighting the vaccine scheduling boss, where I'm trying to get an appointment. They are opening up in Oregon around now for more general public, people over 16, and I'm very excited about that. So I'm doing my best to get in to hopefully get my first shot when it becomes available, and that'll be really good. I'm looking forward to that. Questions for this week. Celia wants to know, this is the first time I played WoW with Legendaries. Are we ever going to be able to transmog the whole set? It's like such a tease, you can see it, but not actually wear it. So that appearance set, the one of the current Legendaries, is the patch 9.1 raid set. It is not on the PTR appearance journal just yet, but we found that out during the last dev info dump event that they had a couple of months ago. We found out that they are using those appearances for the 9.1 raid set. So you are going to be able to mog and wear them, although you will need to collect them from the raid. It's not going to be as easy as just buying the base pieces off the auction house. And the Senate wants to know, do you think that Shadowlands is going to get a full patch cycle, or will it be cut short like WoD was? Because with the current patch cadence, a full patch cycle will make Shadowlands a 3-year expansion. So that's an interesting question that really had not occurred to me at all. I'd been thinking a bit about the 9.1 delay, but I'd never really put it into those terms. The following is all speculation because I do not and have never worked for Blizzard and I don't know anything. So this is just a bunch of guesswork. I don't know why WoD was cut short, but I can guess. My best estimate, like WoD at the time had what felt like both historic amounts of bad press and then also a pretty dramatic sub drop. Like when Warlords of Draenor first came out, they had a sub spike that brought it to almost record levels, if not record levels of WoW subscription. And then, you know, people played WoD for a while and they ran out of content to do. And the content that there was to do was so garrison focused that it, you know, it got a pretty bad reputation, and then a lot of people left, and that was even more dramatic because of how many people had originally come back. And WoD was in a land where there was no Mythic Plus and there was no World Quest, and a lot of these systems we have to kind of keep you with something to do and work towards at endgame were not in yet. So if you were not raiding or doing PvP, you were doing your garrison or you were quitting, right? Like there wasn't a whole lot else going on. And they were making patches for it, but I'm guessing that they reached a point where they were going to put a bunch of work into more content to give people something to do. And the WoD name had already been just dragged through the mud so heavily that it was kind of a waste to release new stuff that might save the expansion under that name when so many people had given up on it already. And it just made more sense to just pull the plug on the rest of it, move on to Legion, get kind of a fresh slate, and then reset in that way. And that's effectively what they did. Speculation. That doesn't feel like what's happening in Shadowlands. Shadowlands does not have perfect press, but it doesn't feel, and I don't have metrics for this, but it doesn't feel like the same level of hate that was at WoD when WoD was current. And then also, I don't feel like, even though we're having a really long content drought, I don't feel like the player base drop has been as dramatic. Certainly lots and lots of people are taking a break while waiting for new content, but it doesn't feel quite like the Warlords drop off. So I feel like a lot of those same reasons aren't there. Shadowlands, as it stands, is certainly not a perfect case scenario, but it also doesn't feel like a get us out of here immediately thing, at least to me. I would imagine that they have an idea for how the rest of Shadowlands is going to play out, and that they're probably going to stick with that, especially because with the way the world is right now and people working from home, and then even if they do transition back, there's still like a lot of slowdown there. I don't know that they could just kind of trash what they have now and whip out a new emergency expansion if they wanted to, right? Like, if they could make content that quickly, then we probably wouldn't have had such a big gap for 9.1. So I do not see that happening. I think Shadowlands could be the first 3-year expansion. And I mean, I'd be on board with that. I'm not in a big hurry. It feels like it's going to be 3 years before I finish catching up on the Shadowlands mounts and pets and toys that they just dug into the early zones. So I'm certainly going to be busy for a while. And that has been my week. Thank you very much for watching. For next week, I should have some first impressions of the raid testing to talk about. I'm super excited for that. If you have any questions you would like me to answer in a news video, please leave them in the comment and include the word question. Stop by a stream sometime if you like, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.